welcome to my channel. Hope you all doing good. Today we're going to see about Afghanistan and Taliban crisis. Why Afghanistan is still the worst place in the world to be a woman. Homosexuality in Afghanistan? Hard to believe, right? Continue watching. Afghanistan is a landlocked country bordering on Iran to the west, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan to the north, a tiny border with China at the northeast, and Pakistan to the east and south. Its total area is 251,826 square miles, 652,230 square kilometers. Afghanistan is divided into 34 administrative provinces. Afghanistan's official languages: Dari and Pashto, both of which are Indo-European languages in the Iranian subfamily. The majority of Afghanistan's people are Muslim, around 99.7%, with between 85 to 90% Sunni and 10 to 15% Shia. Afghani is the country's currency. Okay, let's see some weird and interesting facts about Afghanistan. Number 1. Even though foreigners do not have to fast during Ramadan, they are still forbidden from eating, drinking, chewing gum, and smoking in public. Number 2. At least 9 million people in the country are unable to read and write, making Afghanistan one of the most illiterate countries in the world. Number 3. Under the Taliban's rule, girls and women were not allowed to attend school in Afghanistan. 0.60% of out-of-school youth are girls. In Afghanistan, there are about 3.7 million children not in school, and 60% of these are girls. The lack of female teachers, especially in rural areas, is one reason for low enrollment. Only 16% of schools are all-girls schools. Most of these do not have proper sanitation facilities, which also deters attendance. Number 4. Afghanistan is the world's largest supplier of opium. Afghanistan is currently the largest narco economy the world has ever known. In 2007 it produced 93% of the world's opium, bringing some $3 billion of illicit funds into the economy, fueling corruption as well as, allegedly, funding the Taliban. As of 2017, opium production has provided 400,000 jobs in the country. According to a report, the production of opium increased by 63%, from 2016 to 2017. Number 5. Most Afghans celebrate their birthday on January 1. During the war from 1980 to 1990, the Afghan government had no system to record the birth of their citizens. Due to the lack of available records, Afghans born in that decade do not know their exact birth date. To make things easier for them, they chose January 1, since it is the easiest date to remember. Number 6. Afghan women are expected to dress modestly. Revealing clothing should not be worn, and most women wear headscarves. While handshakes are a common greeting, it is rare and unusual for men and women to shake hands with each other. In Afghanistan, men and women also avoid eye contact as much as possible. Before the rise of Taliban, Afghanistan was not so conservative country. Women could dress freely, were allowed to study. Number 7. Polygamy is permissible in Afghanistan, however it is rare. Many of the marriages are consummated between cousins. At present, according to Islamic law, the marriage custom in Afghanistan allows men to marry up to 4 wives, but all wives must be treated equally. Number 8. Afghanistan was a Hindu nation. There was a time when Afghanistan was identified as a Hindu nation. The word Afghan is said to be derived from the Sanskrit word Asvakas. This country was a part of United India till the 7th century. Once upon a time, Buddhism flourished and now it is identified as an Islamic nation. Afghanistan was not even named until the beginning of the 17th century. In the Mahabharata period, Gandhara Mahajanapada was in its northern region, due to which its capital was called Kandahar. Apart from this, areas like Aryana, Kamboi, etc. were included in it. Number 9. Sikh and Hindu troubled. These days, Sikhs and Hindus living are extremely upset. According to a Reuters report, in 1992 there were 220,000 families of Hindus and Sikhs, but these days this number has been reduced to 220. Hindus are not allowed to burn dead bodies. The local Hindus and Sikhs are fighting for their rights. After the United States invasion in 2001, many Hindus and Sikhs who had fled the country in the last decade. Number 10. Pedophiles, Baka Bazi. The practice of taking young boys to perform as dancers at private parties is known as Baka Bazi, literally, boy for play, and is an Afghan tradition with very deep roots. Under Taliban rule, it was banned, but it has crept back, widespread, flourishing also in the cities, including the capital, Kabul, and a common feature of weddings, especially in the north. The baka dancers are often abused children whose families have rejected them. Prepubescent boys between ages of 14 to 18 are sold to wealthy and powerful patrons for entertainment and illicit sex. Women are not allowed to dance in public, and so the boys are made to perform feminine gestures and acts. Large halls are used as venues for the parties, where the boys dance clad in women's clothing with bells tied to their feet and a scarf wrapped around their face as they parade for hours. The parties also provide an opportunity for buying and selling. Once the party concludes, the boys are sold to the highest bidder or shared for sex. In return, they are given small tokens of money and food. Their owners or masters can be single or married men, who keep them in a form of sexual slavery as concubines. The batches are usually released at the age of 19, when they can get married and reclaim their status as male, though the stigma of having lived as a baka is hard to overcome. The Afghan authorities and human rights groups are aware of the plight of baka boys, but seem powerless to stop it. Okay, let's come to Taliban crisis. Taliban. The Afghan Taliban is an Islamist militant organization established in 1994 during the civil war that followed the Soviet Union's withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Taliban seeks to establish a strictly Sharia-governed Afghan state. The Taliban ruled Afghanistan from 1996 until 2001 and provided a base for al-Qaeda to organize the 9/11 attacks. The Taliban, which ruled the country from 1996 to 2001, originally had students received education in Islamic seminaries or madrasas in Pakistan that were funded by Saudi money. The Taliban was removed from power by US and NATO forces after the American invasion in 2001. Since then, the Taliban has fought to push foreign military forces out of Afghanistan and delegitimize the Afghan government. What wrong did the Taliban do? The group, when in power, executed thousands of people through Sharia publicly. Anyone committing murder, adultery, theft etc. was punished or rather stoned in public. Women especially found themselves worse than slaves in Taliban rule. They basically had no rights, could not walk in public without a blood relative, could not walk without a burqa etc. In civil war that took place in the country between 1992 to 1996, and it is estimated that at least 50,000 people died in the country in mujahideen infightings during the civil war. The group has been criticized internationally for the rigid execution of their Islamic laws, ending in violence in the country. In 2021, the Taliban have retaken control of Afghanistan, nearly 2 decades after they were driven out of the capital by US troops. But how did 3.5 lakh strong Afghan forces lose against Taliban? The US has blamed it on the political will of the Afghan government. This means even after 20+ years of support, the Afghan leadership did not show resolve to finish off the Taliban, who got support on the ground, particularly in small centers and villages due to rampant corruption and lawlessness. The Afghan government led by Ghani had a force of 3.5 lakh. It included police force also. The effective strength of the military was about 2.5 lakh, it is said. Still, it lost meekly to about 60,000 to 75,000 Taliban fighters. Afghan army and police forces have had a history of desertions and high casualties besides corruption. In its 2021 report to the U.S. Congress, the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan, Segar, raised corruption as the major issue with Afghan forces while estimating that more than $88 billion was on Afghanistan security. Who funds the Taliban? U.S. security sources claim that a number of states, including Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, fund the Taliban to the tune of around $500 million per year, though these figures are impossible to verify. The bulk of the Taliban's funds come through the illicit drug trade, with Afghanistan being the biggest natural producer of poppy seeds, used to create opium and heroin, in the world. After taking over Afghanistan in press meet, Taliban promised that they would honor women's rights within the norms of Islamic law, without elaborating. The Taliban have encouraged women to return to work and have allowed girls to return to school, handing out Islamic headscarves at the door. A female news anchor interviewed a Taliban official Monday in a TV studio. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Have a good day.